Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us for this celebration of Lola's leadership and her legacy. My name is Peggy Clark. I'm an interim executive director of Aspen Global Innovators Group, and I'm honored to call myself a friend and colleague of Lola. And we are so delighted you've joined us today. There are more than 250 of you here on this Zoom call from more than 34 countries, which is a real testimony to the community that you all represent and to Lola herself. As you may have known or been thinking about since Lola, we suddenly lost Lola, the mark of a true leader is really in the lives that they touch. And that is why today we're honoring Lola and celebrating her life by focusing on and allowing us to hear from some of the many people who her leadership influenced and who live on. Lola's legacy lives on in their lives. And so we are delighted to celebrate together in the ripple of Lola's life. When Lola passed on, we at Innovators Group were so warmed and delighted by so many of you reaching out, telling us the time that you had a conversation with Lola that influenced your own life and helped set your direction. So we're here together. Unfortunately, we can't get all of you on Zoom. I see you in my mind's eye, and hopefully at the end of the call, we can show all of your faces from all over the world. But right now, it's my honor to introduce my dear colleague, Dan Porterfield. He's the president and CEO of the Aspen Institute and friend of Lola's. Dan, please welcome the group. Thank you.
Thank you, Peggy, and all who helped to organize this particular time to come together to reflect upon Lola's leadership and her example, her warmth, her brilliance, and her impacts on all of us and on the larger world. And I especially want to reach out to and to again express our condolences as an Institute community to Lola's family and dear friends, some of whom many of us on the Zoom have had the chance to get to know only under these, unfortunate circumstances. And we feel Lola's presence in all of those loved ones. I also would like to thank Lola's teammates and the colleagues in the Institute that partnered most closely with Lola, which is a lot of people, but that team in particular, you've really rallied. And I'm sure that Lola is looking down with pride on how you've responded to this challenge that none of us would have chosen. Um, all the fellows and participants in the program are quite amazing people, and I think they've also given us feeling of strength and solidarity with their responses and encouragements to all of us to live on and work on, inspired by Lola. I really love the title, Leadership as Legacy, because that is one of the great legacies of Lola. I think of her as a mentor of mine because of the way that she came into the organization, uh, connected, learned quickly, um, figured out all kinds of ways to build upon already very strong work. Did it with a spirit that made other people want to be like her. And that's a version of leadership, is that we set examples for one another that we then try to live into. And I certainly felt that almost feeling enlarged myself by being in Lola's presence, listening to her and learning from her, and seeing the way others connected with her and really revering that, the way others gravitated to her. That's one of her legacy as a leader that I'll keep with me for a long time. And so, welcome to this moment here as we enter a holiday season where we all give thanks. Let's give thanks to Lola and to all who work with her, all that have been shaped by her, into the ways that Lola's legacy will live on in our hearts and minds, in the work we do, certainly in her family and loved ones' future lives, and in hopefully a better global community, a better planet. So thank you for being here today, and I look forward to hearing some of the other reflections.
Right. Thank you so much, Dan. Those were really beautiful remarks. I'd love to introduce next Elliot Gerson if we've resolved the technical issue. Let me just ask the team if we are able to get Elliot on. No. Okay. Elliot Gerson's our Executive Vice President of Policy Programs and International Partners, and hopefully we'll bring him on later if we're able to connect him. We're having little Zoom problems. So let me turn it over to introduce the first panel. And the first panel, Sylvia, please. Sorry, we're going to show a quick video of Lola speaking to all of us, and then we'll move to the first panel, to our first video.
Trust is an essential pillar of leadership, particularly when we're talking about supporting and advancing the leadership of individuals and communities who've been overlooked, who have been underinvested in. As we reflect on our recovery from a global pandemic, rebuilding trust has been the foundation for us to ensure that we're achieving the impact that enables us to not repeat the mistakes of the past. And I mean trust in systems, trust in other leaders, trust in your neighbors, trust in shared philosophy. If we don't have that foundation in place, all we will do is repeat mistakes of the past and, moreover, quelch creativity and quelch opportunities for those who are the most deserving and the most meant to lead in the future. Hi, I'm Lola Adedokun, Executive Director of the Aspen Global Innovators Group and co-chair of the Aspen Forum on Women and Girls. I'm here today to chat a little bit about lessons I've learned about the leadership exploration and journey in my career and beyond. The first lesson that I've learned around leadership is no one will tell you you're a leader. I found that when the opportunity presents itself for me to lead, I did not know that I was leading. And in many cases, in fact, I was told that I was not leading, or I was not the voice that was valued, or I wasn't the person with the expertise in the room to position myself to provide guidance or input or lead a movement. I've had to learn along the way that rather than wait for someone to tell you that you're a leader, you should just do authentically what comes from your gut, what comes from your instincts, to speak truth to power and to demand that things are done or systems or decisions are made for you and for communities that really are centering their well-being. It takes courage, I'll say that, and it takes experience to be able to rise above the no's and just honor what you know is right, especially in times when the drumbeat is telling you that you are wrong. The second thing I've learned about leadership is the fact that it's a journey. It's not just a moment in time, and that your values, your positions may change along the way, and the way that you present yourself may change along the way, and that's okay, because that is the journey of leadership. The third lesson I've learned in leadership more in latter days is leadership is a joyful experience. I think people often fear the position of leading because it can be scary, because you are forced to be vulnerable and expose yourself. But in all of that, I have to say that I found great joy and opportunities for laughter and for humility, and it has really fueled my spirit and desire to lead in more spaces. But most importantly, It's fueled my desire to encourage others to lead alongside me, lead before me, and lead behind me.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much for that, to the Aspen team for putting that together for us. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Elliot Gerson, our Executive Vice President of Policy Programs and International Partners, and a dear friend of mine and of Lola's. Elliot, I think we've resolved the technical challenges. Are you with us?
I hope so. I'm with you. Can you hear me, Peggy?
Yes, perfect, Elliot. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, let me just say that it was my privilege, and I think privilege is an apt word, to hire Lola to lead the Global Innovators Group. And I have to say, from my very first interview, it was apparent that Lola was truly exceptional. Extraordinarily smart, of course, but also singular in her vitality, her passion, her compassion, her enthusiasm, and her confidence, but a confidence in a way that was not at all colored by any kind of arrogance or selfishness. So I knew, even though I had the extraordinary challenge of finding someone to follow you, Peggy, that we had found someone, of course, with your help, truly extraordinary. And as I came to know Lola better through her work and through participating in some of her programs, I just saw more of those same qualities that were so evident when I first met her. As well, though, as an incredible dedication to her team, great interest in them individually and their work and the importance of it. And also, of course, something that I'm sure everyone else is going to comment on, which is this extraordinary and deep-seated commitment to principles of equity and opportunity, with a particular focus on those whose voices weren't heard and were underrepresented when decisions are made about what the good society is, wherever they may be, domestically or internationally. And then I would say, Peggy, that what I came to see probably most often, given the flat way in which the Aspen Institute is organized, as you well know, how extraordinary collaborative Lola was. And there was a spirit of sort of almost joy and exuberance with which she would work with other people, share her perspectives, and share this sort of contagious spirit of optimism and passion about making the world a more equitable a place. And I have to say, before I close, that my last memories of her, having the privilege to be with her in Mexico City, were again of that amazing smile, of the extraordinary way in which she would listen to other people, the care she felt about other people. And that's a spirit that we will never, ever forget.
Thank you, Elliot. Beautifully said. Let me now introduce Sylvia Callie, our Associate Director, who will lead a panel with some of our wonderful fellows, in whose spirit you will see Lola still with us. Over to you, Sylvia.
Thank you, Peggy. Hi, my name is Sylvia Callie, and as Peggy mentioned, I'm the Associate Director of Fellowships, and I had the wonderful privilege to work under Lola. And just watching that video, I think it reminds all of us about the profound joy that she found not only in leadership, but also in empowering others to create meaningful change. For Lola, leadership was more than a responsibility. It was a true joy, and it was rooted in the impact and growth of those that she supported. So, in the spirit of that same joy, I want to introduce the next part of our program, the work of our fellows. Our fellowship programs were one of Lola's greatest source of pride and inspiration. Today, 4 extraordinary fellows, each representing one of our fellowship programs, will share their stories. These are stories of leadership, innovation, and transformation, stories that truly reflect Lola's legacy. So to start us off, first, I would like to welcome our Healthy Community alum, Omare Jimmerson, who is the Executive Director of the Oklahoma Birth Equity Initiative. Welcome, Omare.
Good morning, everyone. As she said, I'm Omare Jimmerson, the Executive Director of the Oklahoma Birth Equity Initiative, or as we affectionately call, OK-BAE. I am, like Lola, a firstborn generation to my father, who came here from Nigeria, who also shares a fond love for repping my culture. I'm actually wearing one of the designers that Lola and I loved. And here at the Oklahoma Birth Equity Initiative, our mission is to equip families to have healthy births, with dignity while reducing maternal health disparities. We serve and support Black and Indigenous families who are 2 times more likely to die from childbirth than their white counterparts. While we're most known for our work around doula supports and training, we offer no-cost doula services. We also do a lot of work with hospital quality improvement, pushing systems to provide equitable care to the most vulnerable simply by listening. And I think that piece right there speaks a lot to Lola and her philosophy as well. OK-BAE's policy work has resulted in an extension of Medicaid here for women 12 months postpartum, as well as advocating for doula reimbursement across the state. Black women who receive our services have preterm birth rates similar to their white counterparts here in Tulsa County, meaning that we have cut those rates in half. And low birth rates for Black women who are served by OK-BAE are trending in the same direction. As a Healthy Community Fellow, I was blessed to know and be inspired by Lola for almost 2 years. She challenged me to dream big by placing me in rooms I at one point thought I didn't belong. The last time I was with Lola was just a few weeks before her passing, in a room at the United Nations General Assembly. I remember looking around the room at all the name tags on the table and wondering how I got here. She quickly came over and reminded me that my name too was on a name tag at that table. I continue to hear her voice, reminding me that the impact on the ground is what really matters, and that's where the real difference is being made and the hard work is being done. I pray that we are able to continue honoring her by the work of the Black Maternal Survival Initiative, aimed at changing the narrative to bring Black joy back into the lives of those who seem to be losing it based on the systematic racism. She conducted this soft launch of this program just before her passing when we were together. I am grateful for the impact and the legacy that she has forever left in my life, and want to thank you for allowing me to represent the Healthy Communities Fellowship.
Thank you, Omare, for sharing such an inspiring story and continuing Lola's legacy. We truly appreciate you. Next, we have our Global Collaborative Fellow, Melissa Elliott, Executive Director of Gang Free Incorporated and Mayor of Henderson, North Carolina. Welcome, Melissa.
Awesome. Good morning, everyone. God bless you all. I am the mayor of the city of Henderson, North Carolina, and I'm also a privileged fellow of the Aspen Institute to have served over in Rwanda, where I met Lola. And out of her work and her life experience and just her love and kindness, I learned so much. And one of the first things that I learned as an elected official and a policymaker was how important it is to create policy that not only talked about people, but actually reached people. And so one of the first things that happened was me creating a policy entitled CABS 2472, which established the Mayor's Health and Wellness Initiative, which is something local government, particularly here in North Carolina, does not deal with. We always say we don't do healthcare, but through my fellowship in Rwanda, it taught me that healthcare matters, whether it's physical healthcare or mental healthcare, and reaching underserved and disadvantaged communities is what we do. And so as a result of the fellowship, I've already launched and opened a Rural Community Resiliency Center where people are served twice a month for social determinants of health. They come in, they get their A1C checked, their blood pressure checked. They have mental health screenings. We have mental health telehealth. And, we opened the center 2 months after we left Rwanda. The Administration for Families and Children came and done a listening session. Thank you, Dr. Wendy, to shine a light that we were not forgotten about in such a small city with a small population, and majority of our population is in poverty. And so we were able to bring in ACF and George Washington University to listen, and people felt so inspired, and they received hope as a result of ACF coming. And all of this is a part of Lola's vision to reach people that most people have forgotten about or feel like are not worthy to have. And so that was one of the things. That was the second thing. One of the third things was that we created home ownership workshops to help people learn how to buy, and bring them into a welcome space where everyone belongs there. So we were so grateful, and to get together and reach across the aisle, to people that think they couldn't help us. And we showed them how they could. Lived experience is amazing with community health workers. And now we have the community colleges buy into where they're going to allow us to teach that particular class in this center so we can empower our community and move forward. So my last experience with Lola was sitting on the van in Rwanda. And I asked her, I said, Lola, why am I here? I saw doctors and nurse practitioners and all of these people around me. And here I sit as the mayor of one of the most traumatized cities in North Carolina. And she said, Melissa, because you belong here and your space is going to make a difference. So thank you all. Thank you, Aspen Global Institute, for everything. I'm totally grateful.
Thank you, Melissa, for your impactful words. Thank you for sharing your journey. And thank you for your public service. Lola would be proud. We are going to move to some of our global fellows. Our work spans the many countries that Peggy mentioned. And so we're right now going to welcome one of our fellows from Ghana. It's our AMP Health alum, Dr. Koku Awoonor Williams, the former Director of Policy Planning, Monitoring, and Evaluation at the Ghana Health Service. Welcome, Dr. Koku.
Thank you very much, Sylvia, and thank you for inviting me. Well, I have known and worked with Lola since 2007. And the last time I heard from Lola was about 3 weeks before her passing, when we both discussed a meeting that is going to happen in Ghana in 2025 March, and how we plan towards that meeting. Lola's impact in Ghana is multifaceted, and I would just like to highlight 2 quick ones. First was her work with the Doris Duke Foundation, was the African Health Initiative that focused on improving health outcomes for mothers and children. But the most important work is the work that we did with the Aspen Management Partners for Health, AMP Health, on health leadership capacity building programs, and developing also what we both discussed, interestingly, as emerging, health system leaders. Lola not only supported these initiatives, but they also demonstrated a significant commitment to learning what is needed to improve local community health systems, develop impactful health policies, but also to enhance access to healthcare services. One of the most remarkable outcome of, for instance, the AHI initiative, which was launched in Ghana for almost 8 years, was the reduction, over 30% reduction in under 5 mortality in one of the regions in Ghana. And that work, scaled up to other districts and other countries. And also under the African Health Initiative, we also saw an expansion in healthcare access through developing local ownership of health solutions, improve health decision-making processes, etc. Let me also put on record that under her leadership, the African Health Initiative also achieved milestones in other countries. Mention of Mozambique, Zambia, Tanzania, Rwanda, Ethiopia. So these are cross-country, multi-country, where in fact in Mozambique, for instance, there was also marked improvement in maternal and child health. For Ethiopia, there was enhanced system in implementation science research embedded in primary healthcare. Now, these achievements underscore Lola's impactful leadership and dedication to strengthening health systems and also improving health outcomes across these countries. But it is also significantly inspiring to see the work we did with AMP Health, which led to improved healthcare outcomes in Ghana. With Lola's leadership, with AMP Health colleagues and my own team, we were able to embed a management partner within the Ghana Health Service. And the idea is to help identify health challenges suited to disruptive, innovation and to strengthen leadership and management capacities. This approach, for instance, was designed to create a sustainable ecosystem for health innovation in Ghana. And of course, there's a lot of learning, both local and internationally. Additionally, we also, under AMP Health, there was a strong emphasis on capacity building, developing the next generation of public health leaders, like I said earlier, which had empowered local district health authorities to be able to take charge of the district, use data for decision-making, and meet the challenges of healthcare delivery. I will say that I vividly remember participating in the 2019 Aspen Ideas Festival, in Aspen, which was again facilitated by Lola. And during the festival, we had numerous meetings with emerging global public health leaders, and that was also a learning curve for me particularly. So I would say that the collaboration that we had between AMP Health, under Lola's direction and leadership, the Ghana Health Service, and of course, the African Health Initiative, clearly demonstrates how targeted interventions and local empowerment can lead to sustainable health improvements. And we have seen that in Ghana, for instance. And this is clearly a testament of Lola's impactful work and her commitment to strengthening health systems leadership for better health outcomes and improving local health workers as far as capacity building for leadership is concerned to create lasting change. So it's a great honor for me and a pleasure to be part of this panel. And thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Koku, for your dedication and for sharing your work with us. We look forward to meeting you in Ghana in the early part of the year when we bring our Impact West Africa Fellows for their convening. Before we hear from our final speaker, who represents not only our oldest fellowship, our New Voices Fellowship, but also our newest fellowship program, I want to take a moment to recognize the hard work and dedication of our Advanced Advocacy Program. The program, piloted under Lola's visionary leadership, was designed to provide senior fellows with catalytic funding and tailored support to advance their advocacy work. And as their fellowship year comes to an end, we celebrate the incredible impact that they've made and the strides that they've taken. While we'll share more about their individual successes in our upcoming newsletter, we will honor the contributions that they've made and the spirit and innovation and advocacy that Lola championed. So now please join me in welcoming our final speaker, our final fellow speaker, Danjuma Adda, who is the past president of the World Hepatitis Alliance in the UK and the executive director of the Center for Initiative and Development. Welcome, Danjuma.
Thank you, Sylvia. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Danjuma Adda. and the past president at the World Hepatitis Alliance. And it's indeed a privilege for me to be here to share my story. I met Lola for the first time and the last time in New York on the site meetings of the UN General Assembly. And she said, finally, Danjuma, we have met. Thank you for the great work you do, and congratulations for the accomplishments. That also was the final goodbye I heard from her. Lola, through the Aspen, gave me the opportunity to write my story, and not just to write my story, but to share the story of the overlooked and underrepresented 310 million people living with viral hepatitis. Being diagnosed with hepatitis B as a healthcare worker in 2004, without access to proper preventive care, opened my eyes to the systemic failures that put others at similar rates. That was when I started my local charity, and I lost my mother to hepatitis C. It is worth mentioning that among the several disease elimination goals, viral hepatitis is perhaps the most affordable. The vaccine costs just 30 cents. The cure for hepatitis C is $60. The treatment for hepatitis B is $30. But our voices are not heard. Lola, through the Aspen, gave me the opportunity to share my story and to write the story of many that are left behind. The story of Martha and Mary, her immediate neighbor. Martha is B and Mary with HIV. Both of them go to the same hospital. While Mary gets free treatment because there's funding for HIV, Martha is asked to go and pay out of pocket with the less than $10 our partner receives in a month because hepatitis is not prioritized. Aspen, through the Advanced Advocacy Program, prioritize hepatitis care. Despite hepatitis B being a maternal and child health challenge, there is the Aspen Advanced Fellowship prioritized and gave me the opportunity to share this story. Also gave me the opportunity to share the story of wisdom. A gentleman that, just like my mom, was diagnosed with hepatitis C. And when he was asked to go for treatment, he could not afford the care because he had to pay from his pocket. And 1.5 years after, Wisdom, the father of a 1-year-old baby, passed away from liver cancer, the same way my mother passed on from liver cancer, from a disease that is curable, and yet there is no affordable care. Lola, through the Aspen, gave me this opportunity to learn communications and advocacy skills. And through this, I'm happy to say that back in my country, Nigeria, I've been able to engage governments to prioritize hepatitis integration. About 4 governments in Nigeria are now providing anti-testing for hepatitis B in antenatal care for pregnant women. Pregnant women who ordinarily would be dismissed and sent to go and pay out of pocket because there's no priority, no funding, no system that provides, unlike what is available for HIV. But Lola, through the Aspen Advanced Program, gave me this opportunity, and through strategic engagement and advocacy, these governments are prioritizing this. And the voices of the over 300 million people are being heard. Hepatitis is like the neglected child in the home, where it is a sexual reproductive issue, but it is not prioritized by SRHR people. But the Aspen, through this fellowship, gave me the opportunity to write op-eds, gave me the skills and the knowledge through the mentorship to put up about 6 op-eds and publications, numerous interviews, high-level strategic meetings with partners and funders. And we are happy to say that though we lose Lola, but Lola, through the Aspen, gave us the platform where the underrepresented, overlooked population of over 310 million people with hepatitis, just like me, living with hepatitis, have a voice. And like Lola told me finally in New York, it is sad to say finally bye-bye to Lola, but her legacy lives on. Advocate for hepatitis, to make it in the health agenda, to make it in the liver cancer space, to make it in the maternal and child health space, to make it in the sexual reproductive health space. In Africa now we have champion parliamentarians through this strategic engagement with the mentorship and leadership on the Aspen program. I look forward to more learning. I say bye-bye, Lola. Your legacy lives on in our hearts. And on behalf of the millions that live with hepatitis in the world, now we're never heard, but you gave us an opportunity. I want to say bye-bye, Lola. Your legacy lives us in our hearts, and we'll continue to fight and make sure the voices left behind are placed on the table and are heard by all the global partners. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Danjuma, for sharing such a personal story, and the great work that you've been able to do throughout your fellowship years. To all of our fellows, I want to say thank you for sharing your powerful stories and for the incredible work you do every day. You are all a true reflection of the joy and purpose that Lola held so dear. As we transition to the next part of our program, I'm delighted to introduce my colleague, Sion, who will discuss and moderate the upcoming session storytelling from our partners. Welcome, Sion.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. Hi, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. As Sylvia mentioned, my name is Sion Gadamu, and I'm this Associate Director of Fellowships here at AGI. And I got the immense pleasure of working with Lola from the day she joined at Aspen. And you all hear from the powerful words from the fellows, the impact that she had on each and one of them, and all of us as well. I also have the great pleasure in working in partnership with the next amazing group of leaders. You'll be hearing from them. Partnership is essential to our work at AGI. Our partners are a vital part of our community, contributing invaluable expertise, leadership in the areas of equity, development, innovation, and so much more. And first up, we'll be hearing from Dr. Wendy Ellis. Dr. Wendy Ellis is an assistant professor in global health and the founding director of the Center for Community Resilience at the Milken Institute School of Public Health at George Washington University. In 2024, she was appointed the inaugural director of the Institute for Racial, Ethnic, and Socioeconomic Equity at GW. And the Equity Institute really leverages the resources of the premier research university and invests in transformative community partnerships with the goal of eradicating racial, ethnic, and socioeconomic inequities worldwide. And with that, I'll have you join us, Wendy.
Well, thank you, Sion. I first met Lola in 2014 via a conference call before we were doing all of this Zooming stuff, because I had written a concept paper in my first semester as a doctoral student about building community resilience. It had been met by those in academia as Public Health 101. And I said, well, if it's so simple, why aren't we doing it? Why aren't we leveraging the power of community to improve services, to close critical equity gaps? And in 1 hour of a conference call, Lola got it. Lola became my first funder, and Lola became my biggest champion and most important collaborator that I've had throughout this entire career. When I think of Lola and my wonderful relationship and journey that we had together, I think about from that first video when she was talking about trust. What she's really talking about is trust is an expression of generosity and leadership. She was and is the premier example of generosity and leadership, because generosity is a demonstration of trust in humanity. Generosity acknowledges the right to human dignity. And that truly is what was at the center of her work. What is at the center of those fellows that you heard from? And certainly what is the aim of all of the partners that you'll hear from? What is one of Lola's most important characteristics that we can all learn from was her vision and her courage. As I stated, all I had done was written a concept paper. I was actually turning it in as an assignment as a student. And she saw it as a potential pilot project that has blossomed into the Center for Community Resilience that is in more than 30 communities now across the US and 6 countries across the globe. She had a vision much broader than what I was thinking of. She had the courage to say, I can see it, and I have the power to fund it, and I am going to make this happen. That's a key component of leadership. And it's also, as that first video said, an example of trust. Trust in her own instinct and trust in the individuals in whom she empowered.
the most important thing, and I think that's what brings us all together today, is Lola's life. Lola's example of work was about community building. I see some familiar names from back in the day, Ramali Banik from DDCF. I see some new collaborators, Anatola Manzi and Brett Davidson, who I just met earlier this year in Rwanda when we were working with the Aspen Fellows and understanding the universality of community building and the power, the inherent power of doing so, sharing our expertise, but also learning from the wisdom of community. That was the power. That is the power that still remains, even as Lola is no longer with us physically. All of us gathered here today, we are that legacy. I also want to acknowledge a couple other people here that have joined us because they are also examples of those community building that was so important to Lola's life and Lola's legacy. Renee Boynton-Jarrett, whose literally work in Boston is the village that is at the heart of what is Lola's work. And her dear friend from back in the day in college, Kamal, who helped me to learn about the village building and the power building and the courage and the vision that she always had, even as I saw some of the photos, the baby Lola that has impacted all of our lives. So as a partner, as both a beneficiary of her generosity and leadership, but also having learned from her courage and from her vision, I pledge that we will continue as a community to carry on that light, whether that is my work through the Center for Community Resilience or the work at the Equity Institute or with the Aspen Global Innovators or with the multitude of community partners that we have across the globe. We will prevail and Lola's legacy will live on. So, as I said, just a few days after Lola passed in a rooftop celebration at Aspen, what is important for all of us to remember is that we are all Lola. And every day we are carrying out some portion of her legacy. And as she always said to me, onward and upward. So I hope today's celebration is just a reminder of the community that she built, the community that we are all a part of. And we've got work to do. So thank you. Thank you, Lola.
Thank you. Thank you, Wendy, so much for sharing your deeply personal and deeply personal relationship with Lola and the power of Lola's generosity. And you're exactly right. We're all Lola. Next, we'll be hearing from Allison Goldberg. Allison is the president of the Merck Foundation and executive director of the Global Impact Giving at Merck. In this role, she oversees the philanthropic efforts of Merck's corporate contribution programs and activities. Thank you, Allison, for joining us, and I'll pass it to you.
Thank you, Sian. This is just such an honor to be able to say some remarks about Lola and the influence she had very practically on my life and the work that I now lead at Merck. So thank you for that opportunity and to be able to hear from all of you about the imprint that she had on each of you. So I've worked with Lola for nearly 20 years. We started our first jobs together at Apt Associates and ended up in grad school together at Columbia. So I feel very privileged to have known, as Wendy described, baby Lola, and then leader as she evolved into the leader that she was. In my experience of knowing her, she constantly stayed laser focused on her passion and her commitment to community, to lifting up others. And she was disciplined, not just in making an impact, but in driving transformation. She was a transformational leader. Lola joined Aspen around the same time that I joined Merck because that's just how it worked with us. And we decided that we were going to partner and do something unexpected of corporate philanthropy. What we did that was unexpected was changing how we did our grant making to support communities to advance access to health. we ended up launching a global grants program together with Aspen's Global Innovators Group under Lola's vision called Solutions for Healthy Communities. And this grants program was focused on investing in innovative solutions to advance equitable access to health. And we were influenced by Lola's vision, her strategic foresight, and her passion and firm belief that local organizations know their communities best, and as a result, are best positioned to create meaningful, lasting change. This is what Lola firmly believed in and fought for, and this program will be part of her legacy. Lola was a leader who looked at situations differently. She knew how to take a challenge, run toward it, turn it into an opportunity, and realize success in it. She also knew how to build systems for change and the value of investment at the grassroots level. This is one of the reasons, as part of her influence, she said to me, Allison, if we're going to change this grant making, we also need to build in a community of practice, just like we do with Aspen's Global Innovators Group. And she knew that social networks, professional networks, paired with training and the right platform for exposures could be transformational for those who might typically be overlooked. And that's what we did. So I will miss my very dear friend Lola and partner. But as others have said, her legacy lives on not only in our work and the transformation that she helped us to spearhead and put faith in all of us to do, but the imprint that she showed all of us as leaders that we can be authentic, we can be self-aware, formidable, and empathetic. So thank you.
Thank you, Allison. And I can say Lola immensely enjoyed working with you all and really partnering on that work. And we're 100% excited about that continuation of partnership. And with that, I will pass it on. I would love to introduce Blair Palmer, who joined UNICEF's Office of Innovation, who really focusing on resource mobilization for the Health and Climate Innovation Global Hubs. She is responsible for sourcing new projects and ideas to connect stakeholders with the international development and humanitarian landscape. Thank you, Blair, for joining, and I'll pass it to you.
Thank you so much. And thank you to the Aspen Institute for having me today. I'm honored not only as Lola's friend and fellow colleague to be here, but I also wanted to say thank you to all of you for holding the space for her today. I hope I can get through this too, I'll be honest. When we think of Lola, I think a consistent truth emerges. She showed us what exceptional leadership truly means. And beyond all of her accolades and her achievements, I believe what defined Lola's impact was something far more profound: how she gave grace. As executive director of the Aspen Global Innovators Group, Lola understood deeply that leadership was fundamentally human. She showed us that giving grace meant acknowledging that we will all make mistakes, we will falter, and that we will all face challenges. But under her leadership, these moments weren't setbacks. They were opportunities for growth. It was about creating an environment where people felt safe to take risks, to be vulnerable, to innovate, but then also to step up when needed. Lola had a remarkable ability to spot potential in people and ideas that others might overlook. I can say that even including for myself. But I do, in the many meetings we were together, I remember watching her in one where we were with many of the young innovators that the Aspen Global Innovators Group supports. And this person was struggling to articulate their vision around community healthcare. Rather than moving on, Lola leaned into it. She asked exactly the right questions, not just to draw out the idea, but to help that person find their own voice and confidence. And by the end of the conversation, everyone in that room could see what Lola had seen from the start, but not just a good idea, but it was a transformative one. And that was her superpower. She didn't just identify potential, she nurtured it. She showed us that true leadership isn't about having all the answers. It's about creating the conditions for others to find their own answers. And that is a lesson that I'm taking with me in all of my work. Lola traversed domains, countries, races, genders with confidence and creativity, and always in service of justice. But what made her guidance, I feel, so transformative was how she combined her brilliance with profound compassion. She helped build a culture where growth and learning weren't just encouraged, they were expected. And this approach to leadership, this giving of grace, continues how we at UNICEF work and partner with the Aspen Institute and the Aspen Global Innovators Group, all of our partners, and will continue to do so. At UNICEF and the Office of Innovation, we will carry forward Lola's belief in the transformative power of partnership. True innovation emerges when we bring diverse perspectives together and when we create space for unexpected collaborations. As we continue our work with all of you, we're committed to fostering these connections, whether it's bringing together technologists with community healthcare workers or connecting social entrepreneurs with policymakers. We're building on her vision. We want local insights that inform global strategy. We want every partner's voice to contribute to meaningful change. This is how we will honor her legacy. I'll close by saying this. We simply need more of her and more like her. Every day, I wish I could pick up the phone and hear the ping from one of her many funny texts she sent me. And wow, we had a lot of plans. So alongside all of you, we at UNICEF and myself will carry forward the work. We will honor her legacy by striving to lead with the same grace that she showed all of us, and with an understanding that our shared humanity, our challenges, and even our failures can be stepping stones to greater impact and deeper connection. So thank you, Lola. I miss you, as do so many others. And we all know that your star is only shining even brighter now. So please continue to shine over us. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Blair. And we 100% here for you as well, and agree that we need more of her. Thank you, Wendy, Allison, and Blair, for sharing your stories with us today. I know Lola valued each of you as thoughtful partners in this work, and friends. Partners like you are vital to the work we do at AGI. And as your expertise, your innovation, your commitment to equity and development really inspire and propel our mission forward as well. And want to reiterate what Wendy continued to remind us all, that we are all Lola. And as we are wrapping up, we wanted to continue to bring Lola's voice to speak to who we are at Aspen Global Innovators Group and why we will continue to pursue our vision and Lola's vision. So I welcome you all to hear from Lola again.
So I have the privilege here at the Aspen Institute of leading the Global Innovators Group. And people often ask, what does that even mean? And for us, it means we invest in local leaders, community voices who are really highlighting the needs locally to ensure community well-being. What we find is our leaders are not the ones, the usual suspects that sort of stand out as traditional leaders, and yet they're the ones with the greatest solutions, the most authentic connections, the genuine trust of community. And so I think it's critically important both for investing in the bench of leaders both today and tomorrow that we remember that we have to amplify the leaders who are in community, in neighborhoods, no matter what age or stage they're in, that they are leaders, just genuinely, and we have to highlight and celebrate their leadership.
Thank you so much, everyone. This has been a beautiful, beautiful tribute to Lola, and I'm so moved by the stories from all of you here today. I'm sure that many of you who are on this call also have stories to share about Lola. And so we want her to live on, as we've said, and all of you. And so we invite you to share stories or thoughts or a comment or an idea for a new program, something you want to do with us. We will be creating a live page on our website to hold these stories and to continue Lola's legacy. And so if you want to share those stories, you can write to Global Innovators at aspeninstitute.org. We'll also share that in a newsletter with everyone who has joined this call, so that we can hear from those of you that we were not able to feature today. And I know there's, literally hundreds of you that would have liked to share today. I am delighted to announce a wonderful way to keep Lola with us and alive. I'm pleased to announce the Lola Adedokun Aspen Fellowship, which we will be launching next year, where of the 5 fellowship programs we have at Aspen Global Innovators Group, every year we will be selecting one fellow who exemplifies some of the characteristics of Lola, of courage and empathy and vision. And we invite all of you to join us in that. We will be starting it next year, so look out for a notice about it. We would love to find a way every year to return and celebrate Lola's legacy through the life of an emerging leader who will be given an opportunity to participate in an innovator's fellowship that they would not have otherwise had. So let me just simply close by saying, we miss you, Lola. We are carrying on your work. All of us, we've realized we are a community. All of you that gathered together to celebrate her is this strong, forceful, powerful group. We can continue to move mountains together. And I hope all of you are able to hold a little bit of Lola in your heart today, and for all of us to stay connected in her name and in her honor, and with great love and dedication to our shared purpose. So thank you all. Have a lovely holidays, and we hope to stay connected, and you look forward to hearing from us soon in the new year.